If you see a faded sign at the side of the road that says 15 miles to the...
Good evening, NFW Nation, and welcome to the Luv Shak. I'm your host, Dr. Love, Big Al.
And I'm your co-host, Thomas Charles. Good evening, Albert.
Good evening, Charles, and we also have another special guest today. With us today is none than the one and the only Vic the Bruiser Lewis. How you doing, Vic?
It's about time you had some classes. This rinky-dink show you got, the Luv Shak. Can you come up with something more original?
I'm sorry. People like it, Vic.
I know you're sorry, but like I said, can you come up with something more original? And you, Charles, you're a sellout. You're a sellout punk. That's all I'm going to say to you for tonight. Now, go ahead. Well, Victor, thank you for being on the show with us. It is our pleasure to have you, by the way. Yeah, it should be your pleasure. You know something? I usually charge for interviews, so, I expect a little healthy bonus come Saturday, come March 24th. All right, but we'll work those details out later. Go ahead. Well, I guess you have spoken. Okay, Vic, I want to ask you a couple questions here. I usually ask everybody starting the show off with this. How many years in the business? Who trained you, and what area did you start out in? Well, that's a very logical question, and that's something that the fans probably would like to know, which I really don't care what the fans want to know about me. But something, since you asked it, I've been in the business for 20 years. I started at the USWA Wrestling Academy down at the fairgrounds in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've been romping and stomping, kicking everybody's teeth down their throat ever since. All right. Well, Victor, who trained you? I mean, who was your primary trainer? Well, like I said, I started out down at the USWA Wrestling Academy. It was under Jeff Jarrett before he got his deal with at that time WWF, which is now WWE. After he left, I guess you could say Wolfie D helped out with my training. Jamie Dundee helped out with my training. And then after that, I moved from there and went to Evansville, Indiana, and finished my training under Nightmare Danny Davis, one of the original Nightmares. Well, you got best of both worlds right there. Both excellent trainers in the business, both been around the block a time or two, and both very successful in the wrestling business, I might add. Okay, Vic, I met you. We started running the roads, I guess it was, it's been almost 15 years ago. And I remember at that time, first time I met you, I thought, Vic the Bruiser. So, the question I'll never ask you, and you're probably going to jump down my throat here, is it safe to say that you were a big admirer of Vic the Bruiser, Richard Affilius? Yes, you could say that, but, I've done something that Dick never did. I've taken the Bruiser character and made it legendary, made it almost an iconic figure. Dick, he was just an alcoholic and a bum. Well, I beg to differ with you there, my friend. I had the pleasure of being around him a couple times. He was a fine man. He was a gentleman, not to mention an A1 football player back in the day under Mr. Vince Lombardi. But that's another day, another question. Well, okay, I want to ask you this also, Vic, if you don't mind. I know your time's valuable. I'm sure you've got somewhere to be tonight other than the Luv Shak, as you would say. But I want to ask you this, Victor. Of all the matches you've had, and I know you had some tough opponents, who was your toughest opponent, and when was it?
Toughest opponent, I would have to say former WWE, former TNA superstar Doug Basham.
Doug Basham's a tough guy. Can you explain us a little bit about the match, where it took place, and how you consider it was the toughest one?
Well, me and Doug had this competitive juices flowing. We've had Russian chain matches in Central City that left us both bloodied and battered. But the one series that happened in Nashville, Tennessee, it was a best of 7, which, actually we never really got to finish it. It's actually tied at 3 apiece, but, we both left out of there pretty badly beaten up.
So you would say, excuse me, go ahead. Sorry about that.
But, yeah, I have to say Doug Basham has always been Doug is my toughest opponent.
Okay, would you say, I always ask this question too, would you say that's your most favorite match and memorable match of all time?
No, tough opponent, yes. Memorable match, no, because my most memorable favorite match was my very first professional match up in Indianapolis at Circle City Wrestling that was a company that me and Mike Samples ran, and I got to work Tracy Smothers at my very first professional match.
So you remember that match vividly?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure Tracy took you to school, if I'm not mistaken. I know he did.
Yeah, Tracy took me to school, but then at the end, after it was over, he come over and told me, he said, "Brother, you're hungry. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't let nobody water you down. You're gonna make it in this business."
Well, there you have it. Words from a true professional, Tracy Smothers. I have so much respect for that man. Okay, Vic, I want to ask you something. You're aggressive. I mean, you'll go through anybody at any time. I've never seen you back down from a fight. You are one tough SOB. I want to ask you this, Vic. When you're getting geared up to go out there to the ring, I know you fought some tough guys. Al Snow, the Big Baron there in the NFW. What goes through your mind right before you go through that curtain? What are you thinking?
Before I go through the curtain, it's killed or be killed.
So you're just ready to take your opponent out?
Yeah.
Before you get there?
It's professional wrestling. It ain't ballet. I mean, a lot of people, they sit there, they think, oh, no, I got one thing on my mind. I'm going out there, I'm going to dominate, I'm going to kick his teeth down his throat, I'm going to kick his butt all over the arena, and if I can't do that, I'm just going to pull out a chair and whack him upside the head and then finish the job. So, it's real simple.
Well, I know that. I've heard you wrestle several matches. And look, now I want to ask you this. You teamed for many a year with Corey Williams. And I wanted to know, through the years, have you had any other tag team partners?
Oh, let's see. I teamed with Trailer Park Trash and OVW. I've teamed with me and Mike Samples in USWA. We was actually the Southern Tag Champions there for a brief run as Big Bad and Blonde. I've teamed with Tracy on numerous occasions. I've teamed with Rip Rogers. I've had probably some of the best tag team partners that anybody could ever have in this business.
Now, you say you teamed with Rip Rogers. How was that experience right there? Because Rip is one of my favorite of all time.
Rip taught me what it means to be aggressive. When I teamed with Rip. He brought out a whole different side of me. I mean, so I owe Rip to, for all my viciousness and the stuff that I do in that ring, I owe it all to Rip Rogers, because he brought that out of me.
Now, do you prefer tag or single wrestling over tag team wrestling, or is it either way for you?
Hey, whatever's going to pay me the most, that's what I'll do, but I prefer singles because unless if it's with Corey, I really don't, I have no chemistry with nobody else.
Right. Well, there was certainly a chemistry there. Okay, Vic, I'm going to ask you a few more questions. I'm going to turn it over to Al. In your 20 years plus, almost, I guess it's safe to say now, in the professional wrestling business, have you seen a big change in those 20 years?
Oh, yeah, I broke in 93, okay? And, where, the boys took care of each other, the boys looked after each other, now it's everybody's out for themselves. They don't care about the business anymore. They smarten up the rat. They smarten up, they smarten up everybody. There's no code of honor. Like, for instance, when I started with the USWA at Louisville Gardens, Sid Vicious was the first one to come up. Well, actually, I ran in to see him. And he was the first one to welcome me when I come back from my match that I had at Louisville Gardens. He looked at me, he shook my head, he said, "Welcome to the Brotherhood. We don't let just anybody in our circle." That has changed so much.
Oh, yeah.
Half of these guys that's in the business now, they shouldn't even be in the business. And, that's why I'm probably one of the most hated guys on the indie scene because, some of these guys don't need to be in the business.
Well, I totally agree with you there. I describe this. I tell people when I got into business, and I'm not joking, and you'll agree with me, it was like getting in a it was like getting in a club or an elite club, like a gang or almost something.
Well, yeah.
You had to prove that you were worthy of that. Like I will tell you this, and you probably know who did this to me, but I won't bring any names. But I got my ribs broke 2 weeks or 2 times in a row. When they healed, they got broke again to see if I would keep coming back. To see if I would come back if I was a tough enough guy to take it. Tell me there's no tough guys.
Oh, well, no. If you hit somebody too hard, they're like, he's still, he hurt me. They go cry to the promoter, and then next thing you know, the promoter is bigger. I won't say the word that I want to say. But, they're just as wimpy as the guys that they're bucking, and then next thing you know, they say, well, we can't have you in our locker room because you hurt guys, and guys don't want to work. Well, you know something? Tell them to take the tampons out of their ass. This is wrestling. This ain't ballet. It's just like going on a football field. Do you think those guys cry about getting tackled too hard? Do you think Tom Brady cries when he gets hit too hard? Do you think Brett Favre cried when he gets hit too hard? Do you think Jonathan McNabb cries? No, it's football. It's a smash-mouth sport. Wrestling is a smash-mouth sport. It's not sports entertainment. It's professional wrestling.
When I got into business, I was told this is not tennis. This is professional wrestling. Nobody asked you to get in here. You ask us.
Exactly. It's a privilege to be. You know something? A lot of these guys don't realize it's a privilege to be a professional wrestler.
Oh, it's an honor. Yes.
No one. Wrestling don't owe us nothing. I get so sick and tired of guys saying, well, wrestling did this, wrestling. No, wrestling didn't do nothing. You did it to yourself.
Nope.
Wrestling business didn't call and ask you, hey, why don't you come and join us? No, you had to get hazed. If you tried to haze half of these little kids that said it now, they would really cry. I got hazed for 3 weeks in the USWA locker room just to see.
just to see if they could break. And when they didn't break it, they're like, he's one of us. He's cool. He's one of us. You know, I had two guys from ECW, you know, I walked into the locker room and they sat back there puffing on a good one, and they looked at me and said, oh, you know, here, take a hit. And I told them, I said, no, I don't do that. They said, well, what are you? You a snitch? So to prove that I wasn't a snitch, I took a couple hits of it and said, oh, okay, yeah, you're cool. You're all right. I mean, you know, what happened to men being professional wrestlers, Charles?
Well, I don't know. It's just a tough man sport. Like I said, we was talking a while ago, like the Bruiser, the Crusher. I grew up, I'm a 60-year-old man. I got a few years on you guys, but like when I was a kid, man, I remember back in 1973 when I was just getting around it. And, well, you didn't, if you got cut or you got hurt, you just went the heck on with it, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
and you were happy. Not so much as that. I think the thing that gets me anymore about the business is any skinny kid that can put on a pair of jean shorts or a pair of tennis shoes, he's a wrestler. Any kid anymore that can come up with $200, get a couple guys, he can in the ring, he can run a show. It's just not like it was back in the day. I mean, it was like you said, it was like being in a gang. You had to prove that you had that brother. It was like being in a circus. It's harder than hell to get in a circus.
And then it's also, and if you can sell, you know, $200 worth of tickets, you're the new heavyweight champion.
Oh, absolutely.
Or you got top billing. You know, what happened to that? I mean, you know, what happened to earning your spot? You know, when I was over at Nightmare Incorporated /OVW, there was a pecking order. The pecking order was the Phantoms, Jerry and Troy, Doug Basham, Mike Samples, well known as Mike Samples, the Phantoms, Jerry and Troy, Doug Basham, and then me. That was your pecking order. That's how it fell. No ifs, no ands, no buts. When Rip come in, then, you know, the low man on the totem pole, which was me, got dropped. So look, it's Rip Rogers. Nobody else was able to get in that pecking order because you earned to be in that pecking order. You traveled the roads. You put the ring up. You took the ring down. You was at training, you know, 6 days a week, wrestling 5 nights a week, doing it. You know, Tracy's mother still this day says, Vic the Bruiser, I respect you. You're the only man in this business that works a full-time job and still has enough energy to drive 2 to 3 hours to do a show. Because you want to know why? Because I love this business. I'm 45 years old, and I love this business, and there's nothing that I won't do to this business. I will go out there and bust my ass every night of the week. Only thing I ask for is just a little bit of respect. That's it.
Absolutely, I agree with you. It's a passion, man. It's like I said, you do it because you love it. If you did it for money, you'd starve to death.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Well, that was one of the first things just Jared said before we even started trading. He said, if you're getting in this business to make money, you might as well turn around now.
Exactly.
And Danny said the same thing. If you're doing this to make money, turn around. You know, if you get lucky and make it, you're one of the chosen few.
It's a tough business, more so than it was 35, 40 years ago when I was starting fooling around with it, and certainly since, 20 years ago. And, back then the boys had territories, and they could, they'd stay six or 7 weeks in a little town, city, and you go on to the next. Now it's not like that. Vince has monopolized everything, so if you make it, it's because you work, and a lot of it is timing. It's just being at the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
Well, Vic, I want to tell you thank you so much for your time, and I know you don't agree with the way I'm thinking now, but I do have much respect for you, my brother, and we have put in our time in together, and I would bring up a little story that happened to us back about, I guess that was really the first time I met you, back in about 1999 in Bowling Green, Kentucky, if you remember what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
On a Sunday night, I thought the place was literally going to explode. You remember the night I'm talking about? It was wild. Well, Vic, I'm out here. Thank you a lot, brother, from your time, and I appreciate you. I have much respect for you, man. You're one of the toughest guys in business. Like I said, we might not be on the same side now, but brother, you're the man. You've always been, and I can't say it enough. I have a lot of respect for you. I know when it comes to March 24th right there at the NFW, the Metro Center, that you're going to be ready to go. I don't care. I know you wouldn't care if Corey was in the ring. It's all down to business.
That's it.
You know, Rob Conway, I know he's a tough guy, but I'm telling all those guys, watch out for Vic, because Vic's going to stop at nothing. He is a machine. That's the way he thinks. You heard him say a while ago, when he goes through that curtain, it's killed or be killed. So, Vic, thank you for your time, and I'm turning it over to Albert. Here you go, Al.
Okay. Hey, Vic, on March 24th, NFW presents Reckless Revenge here in Evansville, Indiana at the Metro Sports Center. You're teaming up with the product of people and head of the Rich Revolution, Master Rich, and your opponents are none other than Oxygen Channel Bad Boy of Love Games 2, Jay Mills, and Iron Man Rob Conway. Let us have your thoughts on that match, Vic.
Rob Conway. Oh, so now he's decided to get back in the ring with me after he stole my heavyweight title from me. But you know something? I don't hold grudges. I don't hold grudges with nobody. And, you know, and as for Jay Mills, you know something? He should stay out in Hollywood doing his little reality series TV shows, because when he gets to come March 24th, I feel so sorry for that kid. Rob Conway, I know he's going to be listening to this. I beat you before. I'll beat you again. Jay Mills, you don't know, you have no idea the pain and anguish that I'm going to put your little young body through. You think you like Hollywood, you know, you think you're a wrestler because you're in Hollywood? Yeah, I'm about to prove you wrong, punk.
Okay. Also, Vic, you're also in the NFW World Title Rumble. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of friends, there's a lot of family, there's a lot of enemies. I mean, it's every man for himself. Do you think this kind of match, this Rumble, actually favors you?
Like you said, you know, every time I step into the ring, every match favors me. I have no friends. I need no alliances. So, it's an eye for an eye. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Whoever steps in my way, whether it be Master Rich or anybody, they're getting tossed out.
Okay. So I'll tell you what, Vic, it's about coming to close here, so I'll tell you what, do you have anything you want to let the NFW Nation know about March 24th and your participation in the events there?
NFW Nation, if you want to see brutality at its finest, you want to see violence at its glorified greatness, be there on March 24th, because Vic the Bruiser will walk into that building.
All right, there you go, NFW Nation. There it is. Vic the Bruiser Lewis, one of the toughest competitors in NFW. I always said he's tough, and he doesn't back down for nobody, and he tells it like this, straight to your face. So, Vic, I want to thank you for being here, and look forward to seeing you at the NFW event March 24th. And
all right, thank you for having me. And please come up with a better thing than the Luv Shak. Gee whiz, come on now.
All right, good night, Vic.
This is 2012.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. Charles?
Yes, sir.
Are you there, my friend?
Yes, I am, Albert.
I'll tell you what, he is one tough guy. I have to say this, like I said, we might not be on the same side of the fence, but Vic's the kind of person who doesn't back down from anybody, and if he's got something to say to you, he'll say it to your face, and I found that out the hard way. And I tell you what, he's got to be another one of the favorites in that Rumble. What do you think, Charles?
Oh, yeah, Vic is a force to be reckoned with, man. He's a tough guy. When I was telling you a while ago, when we were talking about 1999 in Bowling Green, Kentucky, a riot broke out, man, and I saw right then and there. It was dog eat dog. I was wondering we were going to get out of there alive.
Now, also...
yeah, he's a tough guy, and I've got all the faith in the world in him, man.
Yeah, that tag team match, him and Master Rich against Jay Mills and Rob Conway, I tell you what, that's going to be something else.
I call that violence INC, because Rich is about three scenes short of the movie now, so both of them together, no telling what can happen, bro.
Yeah. Okay, also, Charles, we've got other matches also. We got former WWE's Eugene, Nick Dinsmore going up against Tebow. We got Drake Younger going up against JP Lightning. Nick Iggy versus Shane Berzini. Canadian Kid versus Darren Flynn, which would be a great match. And also, Lady Vendetta takes on Alito Ortiz. Speaking of that match, Charles, Alito Ortiz will be here next week, won't she?
Yes, you will. I'm looking forward to that.
Now, also, Charles, I need to go ahead and let you know now. I don't know if you've been told or not, but the only way she would be able to come on the Luv Shack and voice her opinion is if Master Rich was present. So, Master Rich would be...
I'm looking forward to that. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I'll have to calm myself down and control myself because you know how I feel about that. But me and Master Rich will be here at the table. And,
the nutcake.
Yeah, and Alito Ortiz will be on the phone with us. We'll talk with her and get her or listen to hear talk about Master Rich. Got me all tongue tied. Listen to what she had to say.
Albert, what's wrong with him anymore?
I don't know. He's really got to me. I don't know. It's almost like he's lost his mind. But you know, I will say he's getting me tougher. And
I am going to see and talk to Mama Rich. If he's there, there will be no. I guarantee you, either one of you guys won't be doing anything to provoke the other one. I'm going to make sure there's no physical contact.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Understand me, Albert?
Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel. There's some things I like to do, but I got to control myself, control my temper, and I'll do the best I can. So, Charles, I tell you what, next week, Alito Ortiz, that'd be a great one. And we want to remind NFW Nation, March 24th, NFW presents Reckless Revenge at Metro Sports Center here in Evansville, Indiana. It's going to be a great night. And, I mean, the card's going to be great. The World Title Rumble, the tag team match between Rob and Jay Mills going up against Rich and Vic. Also, like I said, Eugene's going to be here. We all also want to let everybody know Gator McAllister is making his return. He's going to be in the Rumble. Mike goes for other guys. So, Charles, it's going to be everybody's, I mean, it's going to be an all-star lineup again. I mean, it gets better and better every event. So, is there anything else you want to say, Charles, before you spread the love?
Albert, I just want to say this. For some reason tonight, I'm feeling good. I've been drinking gunpowder soup and eating L's chocolate all day, getting so funky, shaking my big mama pantyhose off. And I just want to say, remember this right here, NFW Nation. Don't fight amongst yourselves. Leave the fighting to us. And remember this right here. Spread the love.
Good night, Charles.
See you, Albert.
Take care, NFW Nation. Music.